Dear friends, welcome back. Episode number 3 of One and Another. One and Another. And we're still tasting gin. Quite a lot of gin. Two very different style of gins with one thing in common. They're both from France. We're starting from our Citadel. You can see on the label over here, it says GINS de France. Means it's a French gin. 44% ABV, so it's got a really good hit. So, you know, if you're making, for instance, a martini, make sure that you probably don't want to put 2 ounces into it. It will be pretty strong. Citadel gin, as I said, south of France. 18 botanicals. Not too much, just a little bit. It's time to give it a try. Remember that we're tasting a 44% spirit. So in case you don't know how to taste a spirit, please go back to our episode 1 because we will teach you how to taste a very high volume spirit. So let's see the length. As we explained before, length are very important. It's actually the sugar composition in the gin itself. This one looks really light. There's not so much sugar. You can see there's a little dripping over here, but looks like it's very light. That normally happen in many different gin when it's London dry. Normally happen. This one, it isn't a London dry. I believe this is a Western style. We talk about the different style on episode 1, but I'm just gonna retouch it very quick. Western style gin is basically gin where the different distillations and then blended together, and they could be any type of botanicals. We started with the nose. As I said a few times now, lots of citrus, lots of lemon peels. I can already smell the floral notes as well. Juniper, of course, come through. The floral, it is very violet actually. Strong, very strong, very strong. The actual taste is so funny because it's very balanced. Like it's a little bit bitter, probably because of the violet and the floral notes. Sometimes flowers, when they're redistilled, they can actually come up a little bit bitter. It's not as citrus as you will think from the smell. The beauty also of it is that it's very long, very peppery, which is amazing. It's actually really good. I'm thinking like gin sours, like, you know, very like classic sour, like a Pegu Club. It will work amazing. If you don't know what Pegu Club is, you've got to find out what Pegu Club is, which is one of my favorite gin cocktails. We're probably gonna make one actually. I really enjoyed this. Moving on, Jean-Sébastien Rubiquet, the genius between very different distillations and very different ideas of how to use grapes. I can't open this. Cat. I did. Sorry, I have a broken finger. I broke my finger last week, so that's really hard. Please don't cut that. That needs to go inside. G-Vine was brought up to life in, I believe, late 2006, if I don't get wrong. I was lucky enough to work with this product in Spain. I lived in Barcelona for 3 years, and the beauty was that, you know, this gin came out, and it was the first gin ever made from grapes. Let's go and try what G-Vine it's about. It's time to taste it. What's the alcohol percent of this? 40%. So as you can see, a Citadel 44%, a bit higher. This one should be a bit more, I would say, lower in ABV. Again, tasting a 40% ABV spirit is gonna be pretty strong. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have a little sip of water. Let's go. Already on the nose, there's a lot of much sweetener. Much less citrusy. Still very strong on juniper though. I can feel a little bit of floral notes, but I would say that this smells so much more fresher. Sweeter. I also want to show you this. I don't know if you can see it through the camera, but the legs are so much heavier than the previous one. So when I say legs, is that whenever we actually move the spirit around, it gets attached so much more to the glass. And this is actually the sugar composition. Yeah, second taste again, very low on juniper, kind of floral notes come through. It's a very kind of an Old Tom style with less aromas. I'm gonna be very honest, I'm not a big fan of this. And nothing personal, for sure. I like France a lot and I like people that make spirits, or they're trying to innovate the game. I think it's beautiful. The fragrances behind this is a little bit flat. The sweetness come a bit too much, I would say. I will probably, you know, apart of gin and tonic, maybe trying to do a kind of an old-fashioned with gin. It could work really well. I would say, obviously, the structure is an old-fashioned, so it's going to be a stir-down drink. Obviously, it's not going to have bourbon, so the sweetness will be probably replaced by the actual grape distillate, which is, in the case, the gin. So we tasted the two gins. Now the fun part begins, is when this old guy goes behind the bar, shaking, stirring, building, making two drinks that will reflect or pair the nature of the spirits. Let's go. Wonderful people and drink lovers, welcome back to Mother Cocktail Bar. We've been tasting GINS, a gin made from a distillation of grapes, and now it's time to make a drink with it. The drink that we're gonna make is actually pretty simple and really easy for you to execute, but at the same time we will play a little different role over here between the gin and another component, which is an hydrosol. Hydrosol means it's a redistilled in water instead of spirit, but still has a lot of aromas. The drink is a twist of a gin and tonic, so it will be very easy to execute. We're also gonna use some Fever Tree tonic water, Mediterranean, which just means it's got less sugar content. And we will do a little flour / spice garnish. Let's go. First thing, I like to take a nice chill glass, a great drink that you can make at home. Wow, that was so cool. Actual execution is super easy. I'm gonna add 1.5 ounces of our GINS into a glass. I'm gonna then move on with 1 ounce of a sidlip. So we're moving on, placing some ice inside. As I said, we'd like cold draft. If you can find cold draft, any ice will do, but remember, the volume of the ice has to be major of the volume of the liquid. That's the concept of dilution. It will make any drinks that you make better, believe or not. Some people go like, oh, I've got too ice inside the drink. Actually, having too much ice is never a huge issue. The quantity of ice, how much is actually stirred. Tonic water, Fever 3 Mediterranean. I like to keep my tonic water all the time super cold. I highly recommend it to never pour those kind of things warm, just because they will lose a lot of gas when you open it. I open it like that. You want to leave a little bit of gap over there. You don't want it to until the end, so at least you do the last swirl. Let's give a little taste. Delicious. You're gonna end up garnishing the drink. Gonna go with a rosemary. We're also gonna use a little dry lavender, but we're not gonna finish like that. We're gonna also give some top notes, some aromas. And the drink now is finished. As you can see, it's garnished with a rosemary sprig, just in the little name of our sidlip, which uses fresh rosemary and thyme on the recipe. And also with a little lavender over here, which is obviously kind of reflecting the floraison, so the flourish notes of the GINS. We call this drink G-tonic. So with normally a mother, we don't serve the cocktails with straws. But in case you wanna, purchase a straw, I think it's the best to have metal straws, much better than plastic, so save the planet. We're gonna put it here on the side, and I'll let you decide. With Citadel Gin, we just tasted. I don't know if you remember, I hope you do. A lot of citrus notes, 44%, pretty strong gin. What we want to do is kind of give a little bit of lengthening into it. How do we lengthen this gin? It's creating a sour cocktail. We're gonna go through the drink, very simple. We're starting with chamomile grappa. This is one of my, obviously being Italian, is one of my favorite. The idea is, it's basically a flavors, a little bit sweeter flavor grappa. infused with dry chamomile flower. We're also gonna move on with another French product, plus Citadel, which is a southern wine. Southern wine is a little bit sweet. I would say it's a kind of a Vinsanto style, you know, it's a little bit sweeter, but it's got also some good sour and floral notes, which I believe it will match very well with our Citadel gin. We talked before, 44% from the south of France, Pierre Ferrand Maison, which is a fantastic, fantastic distillery. The drink that we're gonna make is gonna be solely based on a sour notes. It's actually a twist of one of my favorite drinks of all the time. It's called Pegu Club. If you don't know about Pegu Club, please find out, because you're missing out. Going around in good bars and your best bars and bars that you love, and go and get a Pegu Club. But let's move on. We go with the sour notes and we're adding fresh lime juice. Now, I have a kind of a fancy equipment called the hand juicer. People call it the Mexican elbow. I don't know why it's called Mexican elbow, but you know, that's how the people in UK, that's what we called it. At the same time, you can also use a hand juicer, or you know, any kind of juicer. There's a 3/4 of an ounce, and we're gonna put it inside our shaker. Then we're gonna move on with our chamomile grappa. We go 1/4 of an ounce. As I said, dry floral notes. Then we're gonna go with our southern wine. We're gonna move with 1/2 ounce. Southern wine will bring the sweetness that you needed for this drink. Citadel, in this case, being a pretty strong gin, as we mentioned a couple of times, we're gonna go 1.5 ounces. Now the drink is ready. We're just gonna add that orange note that you need with 2 drops. Let's go ahead and try the drink, which is one very important step that you should always do. Delicious. So we get some ice, nice cold draft. I put inside a shaker. Now I have a 3-piece shaker. You can also have, if you go, you know, a 10 to 10, that will work as much. The most important thing that you fill up all your ice until the very top. We close it, and now we give a very good shake, okay? Until the very last drop. You want to kind of finish off with a very simple zest. How do I cut the zest? It's very, very easy. You zest the lime and then you just cut the 4 corners. I don't want to get too complicated. I just want to get nice and classic, as this is technically a twist of a very, very classic drink. I like to pour and put all the oils around the glass, around the rim, and then we can pour. Citadel in France means little city, and that was the inspiration for this drink name, which is Little City. Enjoy.